Hello, and welcome back to GTA Gemma, your Gen X granny on Kick with clips on YouTube. I had to 911 mute the audio in my shop because YouTube hit me with not a copyright, but they hit me with like a block or something. So I gotta be more careful now that we're multi-streaming about allowing copyright to play. Look, I love tech. I'm obviously a tech proficient enough as a granny, right? I set up everything myself. But I will tell you that I don't care what area of life it is, tech is more work than back in the day. Okay, so I had, my first phone was a Nokia. It was not a brick, thank you very much. But it was just like a little candy, what I call like a candy bar phone, about the size of like a Milky Way bar, maybe like a Hershey's bar, with a little antenna that went up and down, and minutes, you were charged per minute. So the very first month I had my cell phone, there was a $1,000 bill, and this was a crisis. Like, this is, I don't mean for that to sound like no big deal, because it was a big deal, and I was in so much trouble. Right, but it was simple. And before that, I had a pager with about as many alphanumeric characters as a tweet, which was it's all we needed. It's all we needed. And there was a payphone on every corner, and like it was a level of connectivity with your friends that was comfortable. And you like, I was outside way more than I was inside. Like, I was never home. Even when you got a cell phone, you're like not on your phone. You're making a singular phone call. There's no texting. You're making a call to be like, hey girls, meet me up over here across town. Okay, we'll be there in 20 minutes. And that was it. And the rest of your friendship happened IRL in person. Okay, so that, like, all the categories of bullshit that go along with being friends with other human beings and being family with other human beings on the internet, we didn't have to deal with any of that. That's all new. That's all high maintenance. It's changed the social dynamics. Some fun ways, some like great ways. I'd say it's probably 30% useful, 10% healthy. Like, it's not super healthy. I don't think it changed our mental health. I don't think it helped our connections with each other, except for when you live really far away, like we do, from our hometown and my oldest and my grandkids. Then it's, if you have loved ones far away, I think it helps. But just posting everything about your life, every meal, every fart, every surgery, every mole that you have removed, it's like, it's horrifying. Like, it leaves me with this, like, this empty, weird feeling. And it's intended, allegedly, to do the opposite. Like, oh, all the commercials were like warm, fuzzy, bringing people together. Like, no. Like, you're breaking up families. All the fairs that are going on in the DMs, like, oh, you're bringing people together. Just not some of the people that are not supposed to be, you know. But that happens offline, too. I'm ranting. And to bring my rant back down to earth, what I'm trying to say is that maintaining the tech has taken over the usefulness of a lot of the tech, in my opinion. And you have so much stuff that was just, like, okay, we're talking all the time lately about landfill core, right? You go to the Ross and there's 1,000 water bottles, nicely constructed. Maybe they're made out of aluminum, really high quality plastic. It's going straight into the dump. There's a lot of apps. There are a lot of computer programs. There's a lot of actual bullshit that is like digital landfill core. Does that make sense? Just junk that doesn't make your life any better, only makes shit harder. But then there's wonderful, useful tech, like the kind that allows me to stream with you. Like, it's a double-edged sword. So, thank you for being back. after the regroup. We regrouped this morning. If you weren't here for the early morning stream, it was literally raining in my kitchen for the last few days. I live in a state that gets a heck ton of rain and high winds, like damaging to your roof type of high winds. And so we have like this crazy roof leak. I don't need a new roof. That's the good news. And I have an absolutely wonderful roof contractor who was like, you don't need a roof. We're going to fix it right now. And the price was fair to both of us, I think. So crisis is averted, one of them. That helps me figure out how to fix my car. So the raining in the kitchen has stopped, and now I can move on to the car. I'm telling you. I don't think I'd have it any other way, though, because in my life, literally when it rains in the kitchen, it pours, and I have like 12 areas of life that kind of need attention all at once. It never happens, you know, in a manageable bites. It's always like cars broke down. By the way, we need another car because we got some newly minted adults here that are starting their lives and need reliable transportation. But I will say it's kind of helpful that I'm going through all this stuff at the same time that they're, starting out, because literally just by listening to my phone calls and my screams and, having to wipe up, rain water from off of the stove, they're like getting baptism by fire and what it means to be an adult. So hopefully all of my woes are helpful and useful and beneficial to them. And the other thing is, it's just the way life is. Especially with the car. The minute I get one thing upgraded, something falls apart. So I can't remember what it was. What was it last week that we got fixed on the car? Close the blinds so the dogs can't see outside. It helps with the barking. What did we just get fixed on it? I don't know. Oh, the fender. We got the fender worked out, and then the belt died, and we had to get an actual tow. Yeah. That's rough. Hey, don't be walking around here. So the car is sitting. Oh, and when it died, it was raining and the window was cracked this much. So we might have to, get the blow dryer and thaw out the. Attitude is everything, y'all. Attitude is everything. Okay, let me dial this in. So, you might hear a bunch of bangs and boops. That is the roofer. I have a playlist queued up for us every week. Not on purpose, but that's just kind of how it turned out. We've covered like cartel developments alongside what's going on in Mexico. So, as a person who grew up in Colorado, who speaks Spanish as a second language by the grace of growing up with a lot of Mexican nationals who moved to Colorado to live and work, we've always had a relationship with the border, even as far north as Colorado, and now I'm in Texas. So these issues are personal and important to us, and in particular, the issue of immigrants of all kinds being used as political football by both parties, both political parties. I'm very sensitive about that relationship with Mexico and Mexicans. So that's, there's certain things like in politics, like I talk to my kids, they're like, well, I don't really know a lot about politics. I was like, the reason that a person, learns about politics or becomes knowledgeable in an area is because it's something that kind of matters to you, right? There is such a thing as being generally well read and listening to lots of various sources and, fact checking the information you have. That there's that. But then there's also the areas that affect your life. So I told my kids, I'm like, you're an expert on those things. Those politics are your politics. The things that matter to you, those will be the things that when you see something happening on the news that make you feel something or that you actually have a vested opinion on. It doesn't make sense just to like pick a cause that you don't understand and try to champion the cause. It's much more helpful to learn about it, whatever it is. Learn about an issue. And then, you may never end up being a person that has a dog in this particular fight. You may not form an opinion, but you do have like a working awareness. Like, not every issue is my issue for so many reasons, right? Like, there's just a lot of cases where I'm not the one where I should be championing on the behalf of another person or group or whatever. And there are healthy, sane, positive, legit reasons why, there are lines and boundaries and understandings. This is not what I thought we were talking about today, but I like it. I'm here for it. The other thing that I haven't mentioned is that my husband's identity got stolen like 5 times in a year. So I'm working through that. It is wild. Let me figure out what I want to do. I love this song. I will be adding to our playlist. I wasn't sure about the mix of like jazz, a little bit of country, a little bit of hip hop. I wasn't sure how it would come out when we're just sitting here hanging out. Like, would it be weird? Would it be good? And I'm really happy with it. It seems to kind of weave in and out in a pleasant way, and I don't think it gets in the way. I think it helps. So, once again, Moofy Kevs, appreciate the suggestions. Let's just go get this. We'll stretch our muscles. Do a quick trap house. So a lot has changed. We own a penthouse. We've done a lot of penthouse missions. We own a yacht, the biggest one. I upgraded it. I never heard that little riff before. I like that. It sounds like this band from back home called 303. They used to do the songs for like the Denver Nuggets. Like, I relate them to the Denver Nuggets. He sounds just like that guy that did that last little bar. Oh, we have this car. This is a Banshee. It's upgraded. It's brown, but it always looks black. I'm disappointed in the color. I think I rushed it. So we've been doing a lot of the yacht missions, and then we reached level 100. We started, I think it was October 6th that I bought this console. So 2 months, we got to level 100, and I think my play hours are like 400. Don't judge me, please. Look, I told you it was a weird time in my life. I told you when I sat down here, I didn't know what was gonna happen. But I'm glad to say that I got a mental health break, and I got some space sitting here, putting in logging those hours, and I think it was time well spent, honestly, and my brain feels sharp. I had a car accident, or a motorcycle accident, where I hit my head several years ago. Sometimes I wonder if I needed a little bit more better care. And also I was in denial about the accident. So I think I did what like an old person does and says, I'm fine. Shakes off a possible head injury. Oh. Yeah. But I'm clear. I feel great. I feel like this has been time well spent. Oh, that works great. There's one more down there. Where is he at? Fat ass. I've lost like 35 pounds this year. I do not have the chat up today at this moment. 123.45. Is that too loud? It may seems like a little tiny bit loud. No, I think it's okay. It's fine. 123.45. I like the playlist. I think it's working. I'm excited to add to it. Music is like, if I had my way and I had different guidance or a musical mentor, that I would have been a musician of some kind as a professional career. I don't even have to be like a singer or a Madonna or anything. Even just like a pianist, a backup singer, just like, it's kind of like fitness. I'm getting back into teaching. I taught for 8 years. And fitness is this type of thing where the only type, well, I do love law, but the only type of work I've ever felt like it's just 100% right for me, and like it's the only time I ever felt like if you love what you're doing, you're not actually working. Because law is very challenging. It's hard. That's hard ass mental work. But like working out and training people was the only thing that ever felt like 100% right. Like I could do this forever. Music. I want to spend all my time doing this. Music is that other thing. I've actually had friends that were working musicians. But when I was young, that if that's who you were, the mentorship for creatives was not there. Not there. Unless you were like a real like actual prodigy. I was born in the 80s, so it's like it was the more is more, the super duper maximalist era. So all the attention went to like the prodigy, right? The bar was so high that if you were just like an average working musician, nobody cared. But the fact of the matter was they need people in the studio. They need people on stage. They need people on sets. There are so many legitimate careers in the music business, and I did not have that kind of mentorship. And honestly, it was a source of pain in my early years. It's so interesting. I like to compare. I think back, because my kids are going through this, I think back to what I went through as I'm like trying to start a life. And I don't know. I didn't feel like I had any options except for this small window of socially acceptable options. I don't think that made any sense. I'll get that thought back. Just a minute. What does that mean, add garage info? What does that even mean? I'm just kind of wandering around in space, guys. And gals. Yes, I want to do it. I think I did mine. Are we doing it on hard or normal? I mean, none of these are that hard. This is just to shoot them out on the ship, right? Oh, yeah. I tried to launch this one this morning. Okay, we got 101. I'm on 101 already. I just turned 100 like yesterday. What? This is amazing. All right, we're gonna do this mission and then we'll watch the video. So we're gonna continue on. Where we gotta go? I'm not flying. You guys fly. This is your mission. Okay, I don't want to drive it. Get in, dummy. Let's go. So we'll continue. This is about the cartels, this video that we're going to watch. This issue's heating up where I live. I haven't done this one yet. This is the very last yacht one, but this is the one that I'm on. Should I hop out? Okay, I gotta get in there. Okay.
Just because they don't know you're coming doesn't mean this is going to be easy. They're really dug in, so you can expect mines.
Here's X to descend.
Just take it slow.
Yep. Oh. I remember I launched this one yesterday and it was so dumb. I landed in like the middle of the frickin' ocean. Okay, there we go. I can't say I've had a lot of submarine experience yet.
Most of them just use their yachts for sex fun. Oh, not gonna go there. The captain's discretion's always got.
No! Oh! Are they gonna know now? Because one of their things went off? My bad, y'all. Oh, okay, look. I'm scared as heck. heckin' scared of the water. No, this gives me the worst vibe. Okay, we're gonna go up. I'm in last place because I'm a loser. Okay, come on. Sorry, y'all. Learning curve. Up, up, up. Okay. Shit. This is not great. Oh. Oh, damn. And now I'm stuck behind this freaking rock. Fuck. Okay. That just means I gotta be quick, though. Shit. Get back down. Get back down. Damn it. Is that me? Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Hopefully...
As soon as he's dead, get out of there. Believe me, you don't want to stick around this crime scene.
I'm a loser. Okay. Not from any help from me.
Darcy takes not one bit of shit from the likes of you. Best of all, that bastard had a bounty on his head. What do you say? Do our civic duty and collect it?
Sorry, guys. Not super helpful. I'm supposed to leave the area in this thing? Not a fan. I think I should go this way. That was not my best performance. How far am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to leave the freaking thing and get in a boat? I'll try that, I suppose. 'Cause that's not working. Who paints their beautiful yacht that color? Looks like an oil barge. Doesn't look great, in my opinion. Oh! Where are my teammates? Sorry. that'd be like $300,000 on 156. Pretty good. That was embarrassing. They're like, you are not helpful. I didn't even use any ammo. Okay. Let us begin. Okay, we're going to stop that. And let's go ahead and make this bigger.
We've all heard this name before, Ryan James Wedding, a big wig in the narco game. He was a Canadian
I've never heard of this person.
snowboarder, went to the Olympics, and then began trafficking cocaine, and is now perhaps one of the biggest names in the Sinaloa cartel and generally in the entire cartel atmosphere. Let's get into it because him and a bunch of people have been sanctioned. A few people in major cases have actually been arrested, and we're starting to see, I want to say, his empire crumble.
We defended a mid-manager in one of the cartels, the Mexican cartels, at my old law firm, and it didn't slow them down one bit. In fact, they already had like plans in place should someone go down. Like, they jumped in right away. His wife like started dating his business partner. I mean, it was a seamless transition. So it does feel like in that case, there was a contingency plan in place. And if this guy's this high level, I'd be surprised if there wasn't, Who knows? I don't know. My job is to comment.
But I'm not entirely sure that's even accurate because he's still at large and is likely still running some major game.
The opinions of the guests and host are their own and do not represent the opinions of Ironclad, the Border Patrol, or the Department of Homeland Security.
That loud. It seems really.
Thank you guys so much for tuning
Sorry,
into
guys.
this episode of Borderland Dispatches, an Ironclad original with yours truly, Katarina Schultz. All right. Ryan Wedding
I am not familiar with this person or this channel or this series. First
was
time.
born in Thunder Bay, Ontario. He's a fellow Canadian, and I don't want people to take offense to this, but growing up in Thunder Bay, to be fair, I've never been, and that's for a reason. It's not really known for my American listeners and viewers. Thunder Bay, Ontario isn't really the Mecca of Canada. There's a lot of shady and unfortunate stuff that goes on over there. But Ryan Wedding then moved to Coquitlam, British Columbia, sort of my neck of the woods, close to Vancouver, in the mid to late 2000s. He made his move from Olympics and sports into crime, okay? He was allegedly involved in large cannabis grow-ops and then later cocaine trafficking network.
If you think about it, that makes sense in a way. Because if you've gone from a high-profile life, it's hard to go back. And I say that as someone who has worked for high-profile, high-net-worth individuals. And I've seen people not lose their wealth, but like maybe they had a career where they made a huge chunk of their money all at once. Life-changing, you can live on it forever type of money, and then it drops off. If you were not very careful about your finances, even at that high level, if that income drops off substantially, you immediately have broke people problems just at a very high level. I've seen that happen a lot of times in my personal career and experience with high net worth people.
Works. I'm going to kind of explain to you guys his rise to becoming a right-hand man for the Chapitos faction of the Sinaloa cartel, which is where he's at today. He's a lot.
That is what I could not figure out, is how does this Canadian skier become, or Olympian become part of the Sinaloa cartel? That was the plot twist that I was waiting for. Carry on, ma'am.
Ivan well, I think, living in Mexico and has been living in Mexico for a while now. In 2008 to 2010 is when weddings started to gain a lot of media attention. For a lot of people who watch and read my stuff, you guys kind of knew the name Ryan Wedding, but it wasn't to an extent where I think people underestimated his role in transnational drug trafficking and just how many connections he has in Mexico, the US, Canada, Colombia, and across Europe, particularly when it comes to hiding and laundering money.
That doesn't surprise me because the cartels changed their business operation probably over the last 10 years. Maybe a little bit less, where they used to like wholesale, or no, they used to have their own dealers and their own people on the streets, but now they basically wholesale. So to get in a lot of cases, so to get hooked up with a guy who has a lot of connections in some regional area, it's not far off. Like, this story would have been even more peculiar 20 years ago, but the way that the cartels do business has changed so much that I'm not really super surprised.
So in 2010,
no, Portia, you
Ryan
can't go outside.
was convicted in the U.S. for
Jack,
attempting to buy cocaine.
Will you take her for a walk in a little while after you eat your food? Yeah. Since we've got the worker working? Thanks.
From a government agent. It was a setup, a sting operation. He spent 4 years in a Southern California prison, which is where I would argue he really built his network, particularly his U.S.-Mexico network. Because prior to this, he was growing in the sort of Colombia game, but I think this 4-year sentence allowed him to become the kingpin he is today. And he is a kingpin. Not even arguably. It's objectively, he's him in the game. You know, it's so funny because I talked about Ryan Wedding on the Sit Down Crime podcast, and people were saying, oh, Katerina is just blowing smoke up this guy and just really hyping him up. Maybe she has a crush on him. People, let's come down to earth for a moment here. Okay, you guys know that I nerd out about this and I analyze all of the guys in the game and women in the game. When you take such a significant character and you look at the timeline of events of his life and how successful this person has become in organized crime today, of course I'm going to give credit where credit is due, and I'm doing it objectively, like it or not. Authorities allege that from the 2010s to the early 2020s, Wedding expanded into large-scale cocaine importation. So it went from Colombia to Mexico to the US to Canada. He really has and has had all of these bases covered. He became a dominant Canadian distributor, and
you guys got to remember that it's just like every other business. It becomes kind of a small world and you know your competitor. You know what I'm saying? The idea that gangsters aren't very well organized and don't know, like, I mean, isn't that the oldest story in the book? You know who's messing around in your backyard. You know what I mean? It's the basis of every gangster tale you could think of. So I don't know. It's not that far. It's not a stretch, in my opinion. Because look, there's no other place in the world where people keep what they call strange bedfellows, which means like who's in bed together. Like they'll say about a person, they're like, wow, they keep very strange bedfellows, like a bunch of different people, like Ocean's 11, like those movies, Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, like it's not uncommon for people from all walks of life to come together around the common purpose of selling drugs. They're not your friends, but they'll be friendly with you while the relationship is profitable. Make some weird ass friends in the drug game. Carry on, ma'am.
His nicknames that he acquired were El Jefe, the boss, Giant, and Public Enemy. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something right now, and you guys know that I've, poked fun at some of the nicknames that the narcos are given. But if you're being given the nickname El Jefe, it's not for nothing. He's always been allegedly linked to the Sinaloa cartel, particularly the Chapitos faction, and I also got a lot of heat for saying this, but truth be told, as that civil war broke out between El Mayos faction and El Chapos faction of the Sinaloa cartel, I think this gave Wedding space to further strengthen his empire with the Chapitos, because he wasn't really part of this war. And I think for him, business continued as usual. He also wasn't living in Sinaloa this time. He was in Estado de Mexico, Mexico State.
Does she
now,
speak
prosecutors
Spanish?
allege that several murders tied to his operation occurred in this window from November 2023
Her accent is
to
good.
2024. And I would argue, especially with some information some sources have given me who were once close to Wedding, this continues on, these murders. And these killings became central to these murder charges that have been laid. I want to make it very clear. Wedding is not just successful because of his business and entrepreneurial mindset. Wedding is successful because he is extremely violent. Every single figure that I have spoken to who has crossed paths with Wedding or knew him or knows him personally has made this very clear. Wedding will kill to get ahead. Point blank. And we know this when someone like Wedding, known as El Jefe, is feared, whether it be by his US counterparts, Colombian counterparts, or even Chinese counterparts.
I gotta look this guy up.
If they are not willing to work with him or work with him on his terms, they are a dead man. In October 2024, the U.S. Department of Justice publicly charged Wedding and multiple co-defendants in a superseding indictment alleging bulk cocaine shipments, a continuing criminal enterprise, multiple murders, conspiracy to murder a witness, and related offenses. Then in late 2024, his alleged second-in-command, his right-hand man, Andrew Clark, was arrested in Mexico and later transferred to U.S. custody.
He looks like a tech guy.
Where
he looks like he'd show up
Andrew
to fix
Clark
your computer.
Began to allegedly, so I'm told, sing like a fucking canary.
And he's a ginger.
Andrew Clark.
My best friend is a ginger. That bitch is crazy.
Right-hand man. And he knew or knows.
You gotta watch out
knew
with
at
the
the
gingers.
time,
With all due respect,
about the way Ryan ran his operations, who he was conspiring with. And it is said that Andrew Clark gave up a lot of this information, which I'm sure is what has led to so much information being revealed to U.S. authorities on Wedding's operations and who he's working with, which is why we just saw this breaking news this past week on so many charges around Wedding. This year, Ryan was added to the FBI 10 most wanted list, and at the time, the reward was $10 million.
How old is he?
We now see that that has jumped to $15 million.
Whoa.
Let's...
Hey, Siri. How old is... Hey, Siri. Siri! What is her problem? Hey, Siri. How old is Ryan James Wedding?
Ryan Wedding is
44. Oh my god, he could be GTA Gemma's classmate. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I had to know. 44-year-old Canadian ginger, buck ass wild.
The reward increase and
top 10 most wanted
that
list.
span across the continent. For real. All right, so the U.S. Treasury announced sanctions targeting Ryan Wedding as a notorious trafficker. This was kind of described as coordinated with other U.S. government steps against Wedding and his network. The DOJ also announced further criminal actions and arrests of multiple co-conspirators from Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. This included Deepak Paradkar, an Ontario lawyer. I'm sorry, that name is gonna not go over well with me. He was arrested and charged in connection with basically advising Wedding to murder a federal witness.
My lawyer told me to murder that guy, Your Honor. I did it under counsel. Look, I've known plenty of lawyers who practice law with ankle bracelet around their ankle while they were being given their due process. They were still allowed to practice because they were innocent until proven guilty, even though they got caught smuggling drugs into the freaking jail. Mr. Conejo.
Deepak was allegedly allowing Wedding to listen in to conversations, confidential conversations, with clients who Wedding considered to be adversaries or affect his business.
Damn.
And even told him, well, if you don't want this to go to trial, or if you want to avoid some sort of legal action, kill so-and-so.
Holy
allegedly.
shit.
This lawyer is now being extradited to the U.S. to face the U.S. legal system.
Who is that lawyer? Tell
and
us,
you guys
name
know
names.
How I feel about things like this. It's like, yeah, Wedding is a criminal and he's doing illegal things. We all know this. But then you have someone who's supposed to maintain integrity. I mean, I don't know, it's a lawyer. But then leading to people being murdered, that's crazy work.
Not
if you're
that
looking for a
uncommon.
recovery shake that actually does its job, check out Formula One from First Form. It's a
Who's
rapid
that guy?
digesting whey protein
Where the hell
isolate
did this
made for post-workout
meathead
recovery.
come
That
from?
means that it gets into your system
And his
fast
protein
to help
shake.
the
I have
muscles
no
repair
ads.
and cut down soreness.
What's going
It mixes
on?
ultra smooth, it's easy on your stomach, and it tastes legit. All the flavors are good, but for me, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is hands down the best
Cinnamon
one.
Toast
Plus,
Crunch
it's
shake.
NSF certified for sport and Informed Choice certified, so you know it's clean. First Form is giving free shipping on orders over $100, and if you don't love it, they'll give you your full refund. Hit the link in the description and grab Cinnamon Toast Crunch Formula One today.
Well, support the sponsor if you happen to have a need for
I want
that.
to thank our
Please
partners
support
over
this
at Ammo
video
Squared.
maker
They've
sponsor.
built
We
what they call
appreciate
America's
the
ammunition
ability
reserve.
to use and
Basically,
comment on the
an
video,
ammo
so
savings
please
account.
support them and
You
their
sign
sponsor
up,
if you
pick
have
from more than 70
an interest in
calibers,
any of
set
these
your
products.
auto-buy budget, and either choose
It helps
a
the whole
shipping
community,
schedule
so we
or
appreciate
just let your
that.
reserve grow. Over time, your ammo stacks up and is stored
Oh,
for
you need
free
ammo.
in a climate-controlled facility in Texas or Idaho until you're ready to ship. No minimums, no extra fees.
What?
It works whether you got a small budget or just don't want to drop a few grand at once. Thank you so much, Ammo Square, for providing such a
Ammo
cool service
Square.
and supporting the show.
Okay, I might actually be interested in that. America's ammunition
What I really want to
reserve.
talk about
Okay.
are the women in Ryan's network.
I feel like I am supposed to know who this creator and her channel is because this is a very extremely slick, well put together production. Is that guy like her dad or her husband or her like business partner? Like, what's the connection between these people?
Because
I feel like
one
I'm
thing
supposed to. She's
is for
pretty.
sure
I feel like I'm
about
supposed to
Ryan
know who
Wedding
she
and his
is,
network,
but I don't.
that's redundant, is that he there was no gender discrimination here. He has a lot of women running a lot of the operations for him. So
That's common in the
Daniela
cartel.
Alejandra Acuña Macias.
Very
she's
common.
a Colombian Instagram model. She's a prostitute. She's a Colombian national identified by OFAC as Wedding's girlfriend. She has been Wedding's girlfriend for some time. She basically portrayed herself on Instagram. The Instagram is gone now. As an Instagram model, she was going on a lot of luxury trips, had a lot of fancy jewelry. And U.S. officials say she had a secondary function, which was approaching rivals through their girlfriends. So she basically, Wedding would tell her, I need to get close to so-and-so. So get in touch with the girlfriends, be friends with them.
Holy shit.
That way we can get close to my enemy. She would embed herself socially to collect intelligence, report back to wedding. She received hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and gifts. OFAC says she was fully aware of what she was doing and that the money she was receiving was from drug proceeds. I mean, of course, the person who put these two in touch, allegedly, was Carmen Yelinet Baloyes Flores. Jeez, like, we just got some crazy names in here. Make it longer, why don't you? She was a prostitution madame turned witness hunter, essentially. So she was running her high-end prostitution ring. I find it so funny when we're talking about really good-looking girls, really expensive girls being prostitutes. You know, it's high-end prostitution. Don't get it wrong, not a hooker, just a high-end escort. Tomato, tomato. Anyways, Carmen, also a Colombian national, ran a prostitution ring in Mexico. We know this is very common in Mexico City. I see it all the time. Okay, Colombian girls working as prostitutes. A lot of them are trafficked. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are there because there's a lot of money in it. Now, Carmen allegedly connected Daniela with Wedding. These two started a relationship. It was obviously multifunctional for Wedding. And Carmen also allegedly helped facilitate the murder of a federal witness in January. So this is where this case kind of blows up. It all has to do with the murder of this federal witness. And the federal witness was part of a case where 16 defendants were charged in superseding indictment alleging bulk shipments of cocaine to Canada and 4 murders. This case took place October of last year, 2024. And this is where things started to get murky, and I think Wedding was trying to cover his tracks, and everyone in his network was helping him do so. Carmen has also been charged or sanctioned along with Daniela. You can see here, this is really painting the picture of how international Wedding's network span, right? You have the Canadian lawyer, you have the Colombian ladies, and then let's look at his wife. Yes, first comes the girlfriend, then comes the wife. Miriam Andrea Castillo Moreno. She was identified by OFAC as Wedding's wife, and she handled laundering duties. She also helped facilitate acts of violence. This lady has gained a lot of attraction for all the wrong reasons. Castillo kind of represents...
Hold that thought. We got some work to do. Where are those? Where are those? Cool. Get out. Okay. They are on little jet skis. And you could chase them around, or you could wait for them to come to you. He didn't even shoot at me. Haha.
Did you get the paperwork? Alright. That's a good start. We're not gonna let them keep the rest of those skis, are we? Damn, man.
Shit, now we gotta lose the cops. He's got the chopper. right.
Some crew to pick up the skis. In the meantime, allow me to introduce you to a vital part of a captain's day-to-day work in the waters of Los Santos, enforcing the nautical pecking order. Those arseholes were all members of the yacht club down at Puerto del Sol. The naval code dictates we head over there and put their boats where they belong, at the bottom of the creek. Trust me. This is
Thanks, buddy. That was nice of him to wait. What a gentleman. Some people don't play well together. Sometimes I am one of those people. Unfortunately. Okay, get out, get out. This part is fun. We need to split up, y'all. Ooh, that's a nice. Is that Electro? No, it's not. Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry. Sorry, Holmes. Okay, homie's got that one. Where do I need to go? We got two more. Oh, shit! Not helpful. Homie should be having this one. Oh, he got it. There we go. Okay. Don't fall in the water.
I'd say we've sent our message. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you to lose the cops if they're after you. And if that wasn't fun enough on its own, the insurance money for those skis sure ain't miss all worth our while. Ah, it's a captain's life, eh, boss? Let's do this again sometime.
Bye. Adios, I'm a ghost. Roar. These canals. Oh. I think I'm cool right here. I should be okay right here.
The operational home front, in a way, okay? She's a trusted insider to Wedding who keeps money and logistics flowing while Wedding hides in Mexico. Castillo hasn't been hiding, okay? She's been doing her thing. She also raises a child with Wedding. So they're parents to a son, I think. And this is kind of a detail that underscores how deeply Ryan's personal life overlaps with his criminal operations. We've seen before how capos include women in certain operations. Typically they're working as, like in this case, sicarias and money launderers. It's also quite interesting how he was using Daniela to get close to his rivals. Yeah, I don't think she was doing much of a good job at it, which is why all these people got caught. Now we also have the general. He was a former cop who became an enforcer. Edgar Aaron Vasquez Alvarado, known as the General, is perhaps the figure who best illustrates Wedding's ability to infiltrate Mexican state structures.
Okay, this is the thing. After spending a lot of time around cops, sheriffs, lawyers, judges, criminals, all the people in this community, we always talk about, like, what do you need to do when you're hiring cops? So many legit criminals have clean backgrounds. So it's like, yes, we need to know what they're up to when when we hire them, but how do we keep tabs on them throughout their career? It's like, I remember when I was the president of the board on the police academy back home where I'm from, there was this one officer who he was part of like a gang unit, but honestly, it felt more like he was in the gang. Like, he would pose for selfies. Like, it was peculiar. And he kind of was playing that cool, like, TikTok cop type of role. Like, oh, I'm just, like, community policing is one thing, right? But it felt like this guy was hiding kind of under the veil of community policing. And then you're like, yeah, no, this isn't just like a donut shop meet and greet, like, and we actually used to do those. We actually used to do those, but he, except for the uniform if the clothing he actually wore, it was impossible to tell the difference between him and the gang members.
You guys remember how I've been saying for so long that the Mexican federal government is corrupt and on the payroll? Well, Ryan Wedding's payroll is one of those. It's important to keep in mind that aside from Ryan Wedding's violent tactics, he also has some really airtight money laundering tactics. OFAC went through this, but we had known about this for a while, any of us who follow this news. And I also spoke to a source who gave me some information regarding just how seriously Ryan Wedding takes his money laundering, because when you're cleaning millions of dollars in cocaine profits, you have to be able to use that money, make it economy ready in a way. And in order to do that, you have to launder money. Ryan Wedding was doing this through mainly Canada and Europe. One guy, Roland Skolovsky, a Toronto jeweler operating under the name Diamond Sar, moved money through jewelry and cryptocurrency. This is really Ryan going back to his East Coast Canadian roots and locking in with whoever he knows that could make this feasible for him. And then you have Gianluca Tiepolo, a former Italian Special Forces member. He managed Wedding's fleet of luxury vehicles and ran tactical training camps for his hitmen, allegedly. I'd also like to mention, when going through the list of items that were seized, because I always find that quite interesting, and you kind of get a understanding of just how much money was being made and what the priorities were. A vehicle seized here, and I've never seen this before, was a $13 million Mercedes CLK GTR. This is the kind of asset that's rarely found outside of elite collections. And typically, I don't see vehicles like this in narcotics case files. This is a vehicle, it's different than the typical G-Wagon, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Bentleys, whatever. This is an elite collector's item. It's not meant to just impress your adversaries. They knew what they were doing. And then you have Christian Diana and John Anthony Fallon, who helped run Tiepolo's Italy and UK-based companies. They were acting as fronts to hide Wedding's assets. You can probably tell by now that Canada and Europe, jewelry, cars, crypto, has been a major form of money laundering for Ryan Wedding, and it's working. And I'd like you guys to keep in mind that for years, intelligence officers and journalist Katerina Schultz have warned that Canada's underworld, although it's less violent but deeply capitalized, is interacting with Mexican cartels in ways that really remain very unexplored publicly.
What was that?
And Wedding's case is literally blowing that wide open into the public view. We've seen this because of just how hard these sanctions and the $15 million bounty has hit international headlines. For now, the US bet is the financial strangulation. Whether that's going to be effective when targeting someone like Wedding is very unclear because the way he's running his business is pretty unprecedented. So freezing these assets, pressuring the associates, we know that information from his associates has been kind of the key pipeline to Wedding, whether that be Andrew Clark or now Daniela, the Colombian girlfriend. These are people who will talk if it means saving their own face. But dismantling this corporate scaffolding that lets traffickers pretty much operate invisibly is the key, and it's not going to be easy. It never has been. My guess, honestly, to wrap this all up, and with all the deep dive that I've been doing into Ryan Wedding's case over the last couple of years, I don't think Ryan Wedding will ever be captured. He will likely be killed, whether that's by American forces or collaborative efforts eventually, maybe between Mexican and American forces, or an adversary somehow managing to turn on him. Will we see Ryan Wedding in a cell? I'll make a bet with you guys. I don't think so, to be completely honest. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Sometimes I feel like a
He's
guy
been doing
like
this for
that
nearly
is
2 decades,
just flat out
completely
gonna
under
get away.
the
You know
radar.
what I mean?
And even when he gets caught, even when the heat is up, someone like Wedding has such a big ego and a track record to match that I don't think he starts to sweat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Borderland Dispatches, an Ironclad original with yours truly, Katarina Schultz. And as always,
She's really
see you
good.
next time.
That was fun. That was fun, y'all. Oops. Don't want to do that. Don't do that. Oh, there we go. Make it small. If I make it go away, it's harder to get back correctly next time.
Get some goodies? Time to get back to the yacht and we can crack open a few. Hey! Hey, who the hell are you? Whoa! Don't point that at me. Now you listen here, mate. I'm the bloody captain.
Is today Wednesday? Yes. Just come pick me up. Come get me, bro. I'm just gonna get in this boat. Don't wait for me. Do not leave without me. Bro, wait for me, fucking idiot. Let's go. Okay. I don't know. With those cartel people at that level, I just feel like they're protected. Oh, don't shoot them. That's our guys. Now we have to rescue them. I like this one. I think this was my favorite one. Ah, let me get back out of this fucking water.
That was amazing. Next time I'm taken hostage, you're my first port of call. Now, let's get back to the office. Listen, mate, I had no idea East Asia's biggest money laundering op kept its boats in the marina we hit. That whole situation got seriously out of hand. You almost lost your skipper and your mixologist in one fell swoop. Fatal to any operation. And quite apart from his truly horrifying breath, I reckon that arsehole would have killed us both even if he'd given him the money. Speaking of which, I reckon that salvage job is going to earn us a pretty penny. Silver lining, eh?
Oh yeah, baby. What do we have? What do we have?
Million chats under its belt.
Happened is I changed my content. Now I'm a more social streamer.
Uh-huh. We have a very important guest.
Asmongold, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about you? I've seen your videos on and off for the last 10 years.
We already watched that. Oh, did she get a lot of... Has she done any lives in a while? Nope.
Hey Internet that, friends, something strange has been happening to the U.S. economy since 2020. Or you could really say in 1913 when the Federal Reserve was established. But in particular,
I won't get copyright strike on this one. It's my friend.
something really strange has been
Hopefully.
happening to the U.S. economy for the last month. Grocery prices are at their most expensive. There were more job cuts this October than any October since 2003. Credit card debt has reached an all-time high of $1.2 trillion. The government is shut down, which is now affecting air travel. SNAP benefits have not been reinstated and are still a point of contention, and the Federal Reserve is just working on the money printer. And me, I'm just over here trying to figure out if they're trying to purposefully crash everything, ushering in all of the chaos, pitting us against each other, bringing on UBI and the digital dollar as the default, or perhaps a delightful combination of all of the aforementioned. Something strange is happening to the U.S. economy. Let's begin. The government shutdown is now the longest shutdown in all of U.S. history, but it's funny because the IRS is still somehow alive and kicking, gobbling up all our taxes. Like, when can we shut down the IRS? When does that get shut down? They're canceling flights? No, let's cancel the IRS.
Yes, excellent.
Anyway,
I definitely prefer
it's funny how
flights.
the government shuts down and basically nothing changes in the average person's day-to-day. But we can't forget about how the impact now extends to over 800,000 federal workers who are either furloughed or working without pay. This extends to air traffic controllers and Coast Guard, as well as TSA, who are security thespians. Some of the national parks have closed, FDA food inspections are dwindling, and federal courts are out of money. People who want the government to reopen say
Some of the
that's
pat downs
unseen,
I've
which
had,
is
they're
more
security lesbians.
critical.
It's
The stalled
fine,
infrastructure
but I
projects,
wasn't
the
ready
research
for it.
that's
I
been
wasn't
suspended,
expecting
and
it.
the oversight that's been cut off. And they've just announced that there's this huge list, 40 airports, that will have flight capacity reduced by 10% as early as tomorrow, all due to the government shutdown, including Anchorage International, Hartsfield-Jackson, Boston Logan, Baltimore Washington. The point is, flight travel is being restricted as we approach this holiday season, so plan accordingly.
Hi, buddy.
What?
Most of the controllers can navigate missing one paycheck. Virtually none of them can navigate missing two paychecks. That second paycheck comes this Tuesday. And so if this shutdown doesn't end relatively soon, the consequence of that is going to be more controllers don't come to work, and then we're going to have to continue to assess the pressure in the airspace and make decisions that may, again, move us from 10% to 15%, maybe to 20%.
While food pantry lines are wrapped around the block in record numbers across the country, the most recent update on SNAP EBT food stamps is that the White House says it will partially fund SNAP benefits. This comes after Trump threatened to withhold them until the shutdown ends. In my last video, we discussed the details of the SNAP EBT food stamps program that's been suspended for November as part of the government shutdown, affecting 42 million people. Why are 42 million people on food stamps? What percentage of those 42 million are actual Americans?
Day one of USDA, February 13th, is we sent letters to every governor in America being very clear that no illegal aliens can use SNAP. 0, 0, 0. We asked every state for the first time in history, and this was in February, to send us their data and let us, with DOJ and a war room, actually start going through this data to better understand how this explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We increased almost 40% on this program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration.
A lot of y'all in the comments were mad at me because I said that these taxpayer-funded programs are unsustainable in the long term when they are abused in a cloud pivot strategy sort of way, which is what we're seeing with the influx of aliens and people who just don't want to work on these programs. That's just reality. If you want to go watch, I have an entire video on cloud pivot. I'll define it for you here, though. For everybody who doesn't know, it's when there's a mass enrollment of people in welfare programs that essentially overloads the system, which leads to a crisis that forces government reform. And maybe one of those outcomes would be something like a universal basic income or digital dollar, something like that. The possibilities are really endless here. And in my last video, when I said that SNAP was a total scam, it wasn't a moral judgment on anyone on these programs. It was a moral judgment on the government who makes these programs. I wasn't talking about people who physically cannot work, children, elderly, disabled. Would I rather taxpayer money go to Americans than Israel and forever wars? Of course. I'm not backtracking. I'm not walking it back. I'm doubling down. I'm doubling down on my stance. Everything is unsustainable. It is all headed for collapse when the average person on SNAP or on any government assistance sitting in Section 8 housing is financially better off than any perceived middle-class individual who is just saddled with compound interest and debt the second they become an adult. And I don't want to say it, this isn't a nice thing to say, this isn't a nice slice of reality here, but most people who consider themselves part of the middle class are broke because they owe money on their mortgage, their cars, their credit cards, their student loans. Nothing is actually owned. I'm right there with you. Very objectively, being in debt, getting all the life sucked out of you by the usurers, working day in and day out as a debt slave, is financially worse than being broke. And that's not me saying it's a bad
true.
life. Not at all. Or anything anyone should be ashamed of when you're putting food on the table for your family and providing for them. I'm just saying it's expensive. It's a predatory and broken system, and it didn't have to be this way. Like I told you in the beginning, credit card debt has reached an all-time high of $1.2 trillion. Groceries are at an all-time high. And on top of that, property taxes on
Y'all, I'm
every
getting
purchase,
hit
buying
on
food
by
and
this
clothes
guy
and
on my
whatever
bike.
other
He's
necessities
like, "You got a
with your
man,
after-tax
baby?"
earnings, taxes and insurance and more taxes
Yeah.
taken out of every
He's at
paycheck,
work.
leaving you with very little to cover medical bills, childcare, hyperinflated anything, all while being a law-abiding citizen, never stepping out of line, just being your garden variety fellow American, even a self-proclaimed patriot. What do you get from the politicians for being so upstanding? For paying your share. You get your country flooded with people who don't belong here. Then you get scorned for saying anything about it. Grocery prices are never coming down because the dollar has been massively
He's probably
devalued
like
over the last 5 years. So it's higher
19
prices
years
on
old.
everything, unaffordable housing and more taxes, more government programs, more top-down control. And what do you get? You get more of your hard-earned money going to forever.
You
wars,
put someone
going to
on the back of your
places
bike
where
in a
you
video
and I
game for
will
3
never
seconds
go.
and they want to make a
people who hate
commitment
us
to you.
for our beliefs. And the quietly bubbling rage behind all of these one-sided transactions isn't actually what makes this whole thing unsustainable. It's on paper. On paper, we're cooked, and they know it. And actually, if we were to really analyze this, I think the kiss of death was shutting down most of the country for almost 2 years and driving out small businesses.
Isn't it funny that like
Printing
I'm
trillions of
streaming and this
dollars
guy's like
injecting it into
being
our
streamed
economy,
and he
all at the
doesn't know
behest
it?
of the government.
I just think
So how is the
I'm
government
weird.
being
I know
shut
that's,
down
like,
a bad thing when the government
not
running normally
unusual,
was
but
actually
it's
the
just
worst thing ever?
funny to think
Announced
about.
corporate job cuts, Andrew, in the U.S. surging past 1 million so far this year, with 153,000 new layoffs announced just in October, according to Challenger. That is the worst October since 2003. Some industries are correcting after
We're
the
gonna go
hiring
do
boom
a
of the
casino
pandemic,
mission.
but this comes as AI adoption, softening consumer and corporate spending, and rising costs drive belt tightening and hiring freezes.
Been doing these economic reports for almost 5 years now. The frog has been boiling this entire time. So now, while they report that unemployment was at 4.3% in August, the true numbers are actually much higher. Because that 4.3 is only considering people who are actively seeking full-time employment. Broader measures show
How do
that
they
it's more
know?
like
Like,
7
there's no
to
way they
8%,
know.
or even upwards of 10%.
Do they take a
And
poll? How
long-term
the hell do they
unemployment
know
is
what you're
rising.
doing?
Pop quiz, what was
Those
the
numbers
unemployment
are
rate
such
during the Great
bullshit.
Depression? And what was a key factor of the Great Depression? Bank runs and failures. And this is where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I don't mean interesting, because reported on October 31st, the Federal Reserve, a foreign banking entity with no allegiance to our country, printed $30 billion in just 2 days. The biggest money printing event over the last 3 years. And the U.S. Federal Reserve has injected about $125 billion into the banking system over the last 5 days via its standing repo facility, using overnight repurchase agreements where banks can swap out U.S. Treasuries for cash.
Ooh, I'm gonna
It's
go
been said
spin
that
the
this is the
wheel.
largest short-term liquidity move since the 2020 COVID crisis. They're saying they did this because it provides a temporary buffer for banks to handle withdrawals and loans. So they have money on hand when you need to take money out of the bank. They didn't have it, now they do. Apparently, bank reserves are at their lowest in 4 years, just sitting at 2.8 trillion. There's a really fun term for this called stealth easing, but it's really just making the the money printer go berk. And just
Clothing.
As a
I don't want
reminder, it's just some
clothing. Oh,
buttons
clothing
with a
item at the
computer screen
store.
pressing a
No.
button, making these numbers up out of thin air while the majority of the populace works day in and day out for scraps. It's all make-believe. To misquote John Green, the money was paper, but the debt slavery was not. This isn't really a fear-mongering thing. I'm not going to tell you to go out and raid the shelves or get...
That is something that's very important to think about when you think about money, okay? So before we had dollars and coins and crypto, we had, and securities and stock, all this shit, okay? We had a promise. So money is basically a promise to exchange X for Y, okay? And to signify whatever promise, like time... One sec. I need to put my cup card on pause. Okay. So it's just a promise. So you have these... You're carrying like they were rolling stones across the riverbed as a form of currency. Sorry, I'm distracted. Rolling stones across a riverbed is a form of currency. So, like, the point that I'm trying to make badly is that we can always go back to a situation where we're exchanging this for that. It may not be an American dollar or a crypto coin. Do you get what I'm saying?
But
I said that poorly.
It's part boiling frog, part Hegelian dialectic, part natural cycle. The entire economy is just held together with duct tape and Elmer's glue and a few pieces of bubble gum here and there.
Okay, Grace, hang on, buddy.
Oh, hey! Meta, huh? That's me! The total package!
You got a man, baby? Yes. Yup. Sure do. And a bunch of kids. And a grandkids. All the things. Okay. Oh, I love this one.
I was leaving scars in this town.
Housekeeping will not be happy. I'll stay here and guard the elevator. You all clean them up. I gotta reload! We got a man
Someone's got to deal with this helicopter. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, I gotta go over here. There we go. I died. Sorry, guys.
So while something strange is going on with the U.S. economy right now, strange is really... Bye, baby. Strange is an understatement, and it's been going on for a while now, accelerating in particular in 2020. When the U.S. doesn't even control its own monetary policy, what does it actually control? What do you think, Internet friends? You know, I always look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing, and supporting my channel on Patreon, and for buying my book, The Deep State Encyclopedia. Bye.
I have that book. It's right behind me on the shelf. You guys, we got to get this fucking thing.
Welcome once again to Leto's Law. Here's Steve Leto.
We've been talking a lot about those flock surveillance cameras recently, and a story popped up in the news that everybody has sent me. Version I'm going to go with is from KGW.com. Judge orders police to release surveillance camera data, raising privacy concerns. So these cameras are out there photographing everything. And it's Big Brother, but the government's doing it with our tax dollars. They're surveilling us. So some wise guy up there said, hey, I'd like to know what those cameras are taking pictures of. Can't I file a FOIA request? Freedom of Information Act request? Aren't those public records? Aren't they being created with my tax dollars? And a judge has said, yes, actually, yes, they are. They are public records that you can access. So now it changes the game a little bit, because if I can get these photographs whenever I need them, it's not quite
Homie's
as
video
scary
is
as if
loud.
they're just gathering information and not letting anybody else see it. But here,
We'll get back to him in a minute. We can't react to him when we're busy. Fudge muffin. Damn it. The other side of the roof's kind of hard because you got to pick your way through it, you know? I don't like going that way that they're going. Boo! Sorry, guys. I'm gonna try one more time. I better one more time and then I better sign off. They're like, let's go. Okay, what is this guy? Cities shut off flock cameras after court loss. Okay, that sounds good.
here's the thing. They're now saying, well, if everybody gets to see this stuff, that's an invasion of privacy.
It's really
have to
loud.
Stop this now. So it's always fun to watch people change their arguments when they're trying to defend something that's unpopular. So a judge has ordered police to release surveillance camera data raising privacy concerns. This is happening in the state of Washington. The judge's ruling in a Skagit County case could affect dozens of Washington police departments using flock technology. And this issue People will try this everywhere now because people are going to go, oh, it worked there, let's see if it works here. Data collected by automated license plate readers used by police departments across Washington state must be made public. A judge has ruled it's a decision that could have far-reaching implications for law enforcement surveillance practices. The judge ruled that images captured by Flock brand cameras qualify as public records subject to the state's Public Records Act.
Okay, last one.
A tattoo artist who had sought access to the data from multiple police agencies. And so the ruling came after the cities of...
We appreciate that guy because look, when you're a tattoo artist, you have a lot of downtime. You do not work all day, every day. So you're probably sitting there in the tattoo shop thinking creative thoughts, a lot like I do, just these thoughts that come to your head. And he's probably like, he or she or they is probably looking out the window like, wow, I wonder what those cameras are connected to. Because how does a tattoo artist become the Louis Rossman of the situation?
Cedro Woolley and Stanwood sued the man in civil court because he had filed the record requests. So it's weird how this works, but in many states you can file, they often call them FOIA, but it's often different names in different states. Freedom of Information Act is the group of laws that say that government documents, generally speaking, made with your tax dollars should be available for you to look at. So you can FOIA request stuff to find out what government documents there are. So he filed these record requests saying, I want to see some camera photos taken by Flock cameras. And they've, in opposition to that, they filed lawsuits saying, no, you can't see that stuff. It doesn't qualify. It doesn't qualify. So the judge said the Flock data do qualify as public records subject to the Public Records Act. The case centers on the network of automated cameras mounted along busy streets in communities like Cedro Woolley, a historic logging town north of Seattle. The cameras continuously photograph passing vehicles and their occupants, ostensibly to help identify stolen cars or vehicles used in crimes. And every time I talk about Flock cameras, somebody will comment and say, but Steve, if it helps fight crime, why is that bad?
Okay, this is a new creator that I'm not familiar with. So today, fun day, first time we've ever reacted to brand new creators or non-vetted creators. I don't know who these people are. This guy must be a lawyer. Lawyer Dog, Steve Aledo, Nostalgic, K-Rock. Oh, he's got a chicken from that radio station. Where's this guy from?
Well, there's a lot of stuff out there that helps fight crime, but you still got to use some discretion with it. And the fact that they're photographing everything that goes by constantly means that if you're in that area, you're living in a surveillance state.
That is illegal.
Now, that doesn't bother you.
That bothers me.
A story about the guy who noticed they put a Flock camera across the street from his house, pointed at his house.
Why?
So every day, thousands of photographs are being taken of cars passing by his house, but his house is in the background. So every photograph taken included his house. And then when he backed out of his driveway, they photographed his car. When he came home, they photographed his car.
That's weird.
And he went and complained there. At first, they said no. And then later they moved it. Okay, we understand your concern there. So the man at the heart of this story is a resident of Oregon who works in Walla Walla, which is a fun town to say.
A Walla Walla tattoo artist.
As an ordinary citizen concerned about government overreach, he filed public records requests with dozens
I bet he's
of
a sovereign
Washington police
citizen.
agencies seeking images captured by the cameras. Many agencies complied, providing records that revealed the cameras photographed all passing vehicles indiscriminately, not just those suspected of criminal activity. And just so you know, because someone's already started to write this out, you can't just file a records request and say, give me everything you have. Because that would be what they call overly broad, unduly burdensome. They're going to say, oh, can you narrow it? And they can usually charge you a reasonable cost for creating the record. So if you called somebody up usually you get to do it in writing, but
even if the cost is reasonable, some of these files are so big and there are so many pages. We're talking obviously about video here, but you know, in my work, I've done a lot of FOIA and been through, you know, literally millions of documents in my legal career. And sometimes they're so voluminous that they cost a fortune, even though it's a reasonable amount of money. The other thing that you run into with FOIA is that they'll say, oh, we're so backed up, it's going to take X amount of time, which is very, very, very inconvenient.
Work with me here.
Sometimes downright unacceptable in some cases.
And they say it's 300 pages. You say,
Depending on what it is.
They can say, well, we charge per copy. Here's how much per page, times 300. If you're willing to pay it, they say pay it, you pay it, they make the copies for you. So if you contacted them and said, I want all of these photographs, if they said, hey, it's going to take time for someone to download those all, you say, I'm willing to pay for it.
Yep.
Guess what? It resolves that impasse, but you may have to pay for it.
It's expensive.
So
It can be
King5,
expensive.
K-I-N-G, reviewed dozens of photos taken by flock surveillance cameras in Newcastle on September 16th. Just one day. The images clearly show the faces and license plates of everyday drivers, not just those who are suspected of anything. King5 has included the images in one of their stories to show examples of what flock cameras capture, but it was a TV station that blurred people's faces and license plates for privacy.
Jeez.
So the man who's at the center of this said, I feel like it's violating my privacy, everyone's privacy, regardless if you're obeying the law. It's not like there's a traffic light camera that takes a picture of all the people that are breaking the law by speeding or whatever. It's taking pictures of every single vehicle that passes by. Meanwhile, an attorney representing Cedro, Woolley, and Stanwood argued that releasing the images publicly would violate individuals' privacy. Could enable...
The other thing that I'm not okay with, let's say I lived here and I was the taxpayer here. The other thing I'm not okay with is paying for all the data storage with my tax dollars that it costs to keep stupid ass unnecessary pictures of everybody's freaking car. Like, that is useless. Like, I'm going through a digital detox cleanup thing in my house right now, and it's amazing how much junk. I'm a screenshotter. Prodigious screenshotter. It's ridiculous the amount of junk that I've dragged around with me. Where is this guy at? Oh, he's in the bar. For years. So I know how bad that is in my case. Okay. I've worked for the government. The government's behind in everything. The last flippin' thing that we need to do is create a bunch of a digital wasteland at our expense. It costs money to save all this shit. These are probably pretty high def or dense or unusual file formats. Who knows what they're saving? Are they just MP3s? I don't freaking know. But like, there are certain cameras, for instance, when we do like a aerial shots, those files are freaking massive. So what's the file size of each of these? How much money does it cost to save all this useless shit that's illegal that we did not consent to?
Malicious actors. She said that.
Okay, literally, I can't remember if it was mid-morning stream or early morning stream where I said that really smart thing I said that I just forgot. Oh, that tech. It was this stream. That tech gets cumbersome at a certain point and is completely unnecessary. This is a stupid, unnecessary overreach, not to mention overreach, but stupid and unnecessary exercise of these people's actual time.
Court case involves a fairly specific issue regarding a very valuable and effective enforcement tool. Now, notice how she says, we've got all these photographs, but we can't release them because that would invade people's privacy. Wasn't it already invaded when you photographed them? No? But the judge found that the scope of flock surveillance was so broad and indiscriminate with most images capturing people not suspected of anything, that the data must be released under public records law. The judge said a ruling does not touch on any other controversies surrounding automated license plate readers, only the issues related to the Public Records Act. So the case follows after a report from the University of Washington came out last month that found that federal agents had accessed Washington's flock camera network, which possibly violated a state law prohibiting the use of these systems in enforcing federal law. But another story altogether. The attorney for the man at the center of the case said the case has revealed gaps in oversight. Oh, I think a lot of cities are discovering right now that we don't know who all has access to this, he said.
Yep.
He said that Flock software is more sophisticated than simple license plate readers. It can potentially identify vehicles through make and model, bumper stickers, dents in the vehicle, and a roof rack or bike rack or what have you. Attorneys of the city said they would evaluate the decision before determining their next step. Meanwhile, Flock cameras in both of those cities have been deactivated. So in a roundabout and very strange way, this tattoo artist may have figured out how to make this stop. But
I don't think
it's an interesting point, and it's actually a very good argument.
I think he knew the entire time what his goal was. I think he knew what he would find because he's sitting there thinking creative, brilliant thoughts in his tattoo shop. Maybe he was drawing and doodling, right? And he knew he knew what that camera was hitting. He knew all that stuff. Not even remotely an accident. Oh, I'm really not scared of this guy. This fucking idiot jumped out the last time. Okay. Wrap it up, Steve. You're long-winded.
So if my tax dollars were partially used to put up the cameras that are surveilling me, shouldn't I have access to the surveillance? I mean, it's public records, isn't it?
No, we don't. Okay, look. When you hear the old people go arguing about my tax dollars, listen to me. I'm one of the best old people to listen to. But that guy's Steve is making, in my opinion, a silly statement. That's a silly statement because I don't want them doing that at all. Like, I don't want to pay for any of this. I don't want to pay for the camera. Take the camera down, throw it in the bin. We don't want this camera. No. No.
And I think it's hilarious that the attorneys for the cities are going, but that would be violating people's privacy if we release the photos.
Oh my gosh.
I think that horse has already sailed. I think when you took the picture, you already invaded somebody's privacy.
Bingo.
People go, Steve, you can't expect privacy in a public place. Yeah, I get that argument. But on the other hand, do you really want people photographing you every time you're outside? Hey, photographs. You know, I understand it's a machine, it's not a person. I get that. You're in a car, you're not walking. I get that too. Okay. But you have to understand that this is a slippery slope. And if we've got them photographing cars right now, how long till they're photographing people? Just people
They
walking.
already are. It brings to mind going to the airport. I've been to the airport and my biometric data is I gotta take the time and the burden to get it all taken out. Hold on. Why are all these people? I want to look at these people. Okay, we're gonna do something before. Let's look at the names and the ranks of the people that are trying to contact me. Ken Green. How do I see this? Oh. King Green. King Green 750. Let's look at this person. And Quad Marcus. He was like hitting on me before. Let's look at these people. King Green. Oops, sorry. I never spy on people. A 121. How do I like click on someone? Weird. I don't know. I don't understand social cues very well, so I don't really understand why people contact me. What do you even talk to me about?
And I know they've got that
It's
technology.
weird.
I know they've got it employed in some places. But it could get to the point where
We
everywhere
need to paint
you
this
go,
car.
you're going to be surveilled 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless you're inside your own home. And quite frankly, that's not that far off. Because in many respects, you already are being surveilled. It's just by your appliances.
It's true.
I only laugh because it's true. So, to everybody who sent this, thank you very much. It's a fascinating development. And it makes complete sense, but I'm surprised I didn't think of this myself earlier. I wish I had. But I salute the guy who did go ahead and file the records requests. And his request led to, ultimately, them shutting the cameras down for now.
Cheers
So
to the
KGW.com
creative
ran the
thinkers.
story. Everybody sent it to me. And I looked up Skagit, and I think I'm saying that correctly. Please, if I'm not, let me know.
I think it's Skagit.
Judge orders police to release surveillance camera data, raising privacy
But I don't know.
concerns with them flock cameras. Questions or comments, put them below. Otherwise, talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Cool, that was fun. Of course, Michigan. He's in Michigan. Please do not call my office. Ha ha. Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's go here. Let's find something good to watch. Good to watch. Oh, you're going to really get to know me.
The Statler Hotel, New York City, November 28,
What is this?
1953.
Ooh, MK Ultra,
2
my
o'clock in the
favorite.
morning. Room 1018A, 13th floor. A man stands at the window. His name is Frank Olson. He's 43 years old, a biochemist, a father of 3, a government scientist working on classified projects at Fort Detrick, Maryland. He's wearing pajamas. His hair is disheveled. His hands are shaking. He's
Wait,
been
I wanted to
standing
go
at this
upgrade my
window
car.
for 20 minutes, staring down at 7th Avenue far below. The street is nearly empty at this hour. A few taxis cruising past. The occasional pedestrian hurrying through the November cold. The traffic lights cycling through their colors. Red, yellow, green, for an audience that barely exists. Behind him, another man is sleeping. Robert Lashbrook, Frank's colleague, his handler, really, though that's not what they call it. Lashbrook brought Frank to New York 3 days ago, ostensibly to see a doctor, a psychiatrist, because Frank has been having problems. Problems. That's the word they use. Problems. What they mean is, Frank Olson has been coming apart at the seams. For 9 days now, Frank has been convinced that something terrible is happening to him, that people are watching him, following him, that his thoughts aren't quite his own anymore, that reality keeps slipping sideways when he's not looking. He can't sleep. When he does sleep, he has nightmares so vivid, he wakes up screaming. His wife, Alice, has been terrified, watching her husband descend into paranoid delusion seemingly overnight.
Ooh, I like that.
Just over a week ago,
Oh, I
he
like
was
that.
fine, normal, the steady, reliable man she married. And then something changed. Frank knows what changed. He knows exactly when it happened. 9 days ago.
What happened,
November
Frank?
19th. A cabin in Western Maryland. A work retreat.
That's pretty.
His supervisor, Sidney Gottlieb, was there.
Oh.
After dinner, they all had drinks. Contro.
That's not good. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. What's going on with Siri? Sidney Gottlieb. Yeah, that's what I thought. Surf Blue Pearl S. Oof. Yes. Oh. Oh, she's pretty. What do you guys think about the
liqueur,
neon?
served in
Should we
small
change
glasses,
it?
And someone, Gottlieb, Frank later learned, had put something in his drink. LSD, lysergic acid diethylamide.
Oh.
An extremely powerful hallucinogenic drug that the CIA had been experimenting with. 80 micrograms.
That looks pretty.
Slipped into Frank's after-dinner liqueur without his knowledge or consent. The trip had been horrifying, reality dissolving, paranoia flooding in, and when the drug wore off, when Frank should have returned to normal, something had broken inside his mind.
Oh.
The paranoia didn't fade.
Turbo! Oh, I'm not even gonna be able to drive this fucking car.
But 9 days later, he's still falling. Standing at this window now, Frank Olson is terrified. Not of the height, not of the drop. He's terrified of what's inside his own head, of what they did to him,
Poor
of what else
guy.
they might do, of secrets he knows that make him dangerous, of the possibility that this nightmare will never end.
Don't make it really heavy. Let's see how it drives
His mind
without it.
Isn't his own anymore. Lashbrook stirs in the bed behind him. Frank doesn't turn around.
What
He's
the
watching
fudge?
watching the lights, thinking
That
about
is
his
so
wife,
rude.
his 3 children, 9-year-old Eric.
Where's my car?
6-year-old
Did he
Lisa,
ruin my car?
5-year-old Nils, wondering if they'll understand. Wondering if
Ass
Alice will
face.
ever know the truth about what happened to him. The window is closed, but it would be so easy to open, so easy to step through, so easy to make the fear stop. Just one step, and the falling would end it all. At 2:30 a.m. on November 28, 1953, Frank Olson makes his decision. The window crashes open, glass shattering, cold air rushing in. Robert Lashbrook wakes to the sound, sees the broken window, the empty room, rushes to look down and sees what's left of Frank Olson on the pavement 13 floors below. His body hit the ground at approximately 70 miles per hour. Death was instantaneous. Skull fracture, massive internal trauma. The bones in his body shattered on impact. Lashbrook doesn't scream, doesn't panic, doesn't react the way you'd expect someone to react when their colleague just jumped to his death 3 feet away from them. Instead, he picks up the phone, calls his CIA contact, and his first words, later reported by the hotel switchboard operator,
What happened now?
are strange.
So rude.
Clinical. Wrong. Well, he's gone. Not, oh God, he jumped. Not, call an
Come
ambulance.
on.
Not, I couldn't stop him. Just, well, he's gone. He's gone.
Did I get it? No, I didn't want that.
Frank Olson was an experiment that had reached its conclusion. A test subject whose data had been collected. A problem that had solved itself. The official story would say that Frank Olson committed suicide while suffering from a drug-induced psychotic episode. Tragic, unfortunate, but ultimately...
Oh, I've
his
done
own
this one
choice.
before.
The truth that wouldn't come out for 22 years, was far darker. Frank Olson didn't just fall from that window. He was pushed. Not physically, perhaps, but psychologically, deliberately, systematically, by a program that treated human minds like laboratory equipment, that dosed American citizens with experimental drugs to see what would happen, that broke people just to see if they could be put back together, a program that operated in secret for 20 years, that experimented on thousands of unwitting victims, that destroyed families, erased memories, and drove people to madness and death, all in the name of national security.
Ooh,
Frank
what are we
Olson
doing?
was the first casualty that we know about. he wasn't the last.
Oh, how do I get there?
This is the story of MK Ultra, the CIA's mind control program, the real-life horror show that makes every conspiracy theory suddenly seem plausible. The nightmare that proves sometimes the most terrifying monsters aren't fictional. They're bureaucrats with security clearances and unlimited budgets. Before we descend into this nightmare, I want to ask something. If you believe these dark truths need to be remembered, if you believe government atrocities shouldn't be buried and forgotten, you can help by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your support allows us to keep digging through the archives, to keep the light shining on the shadows our institutions would prefer stay dark. Tonight, we're going to descend into America's hidden laboratories, into the psychiatric hospitals and university research centers where the impossible happened, where science became torture, where healing became destruction, where the United States government conducted experiments that would make the Nazis look restrained. We'll trace the birth of the mind control obsession in the paranoid heart of the Cold War. We'll meet Sidney Gottlieb, the CIA scientist who spent 20 years trying to crack open the human mind like a safe. We'll enter the sealed rooms where prisoners, psychiatric patients, and ordinary citizens were dosed with drugs, subjected to electroshock, kept in sensory deprivation until their minds broke. We'll hear the stories of the victims, the ones whose memories were erased, the ones who never came back, the ones who, like Frank Olson, found death preferable to what had been done to them. We'll witness the accidental exposure, how a bureaucratic error revealed one of America's darkest secrets. We'll see how this real horror inspired decades of fiction, from Stranger Things to
Get on, dummy. We're a hot mess over here.
versions are simply less disturbing than reality. And we'll confront the final, most terrifying truth. That most
Jeez,
of
where are
the
you going?
was successfully
Why'd you do that?
That the perpetrators died free and unpunished. That the full scope of MK Ultra may never be known. This is not a story about mind control. The CIA never achieved that, despite trying desperately.
I don't believe that at all.
This is a story about what happens when an institution decides that its goals justify any means. When national security becomes permission to torture. When human beings become acceptable losses in the pursuit of power. This is the story of MK Ultra.
I don't think they stopped. I just think they pivoted. Oh, shut up. I know all the lawyers. Crazy. Alright, I gotta get off right after this. And go to the post office. What happened? That was a dumbass mess. Look, I love to be helpful, but right now I'm gonna find this fucking car. The first thing you have to do is have a car or a bike ready. I'm just gonna go this way. Oh my god, this is so dumb. Oh my god. Why did I get off that bike? That was stupid. Oh my god. Sorry, friend. I'll give it back. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Ugh. I'll go this way. Somebody else can get that one. Nope, he's on his way over there. Okay, I hit a wall. It's time to be done. And whose bike gave? Oh, this is my bike. Oh my god, this sucks. Is it just the two of us? Boo. Wait, did I just get like so lucky? Oh no, that's my teammate, right? I can tell when I'm like had enough. Oh, he's coming at me. He's coming at me. I'm gonna be ready. Oh, bitch. No, no, no. Nay, nay. Nay, 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 nay. No, no, no. You're not doing that. Oh. That's what happened last time. I remember having trouble with this one because, like, how do I stop him and get back in the car? I don't think he wants me to shoot the tires out. Okay, let's try that. Nope. Nope. Ugh. Frustrating. I had enough for the day. You can just tell when my energy is like, nope. Oh my God. Oh. They literally just finally stopped for me. There we go. Oh my God, I am so sorry, team. What an idiot. And on that note, it is time for this old granny to log off. Get back to all the granny things. I've got people on my roof. I got to get my car fixed. I got to go to the post office. We have a lot going on today. It's time to get back to it. Thaw out some dinner. Some meat for dinner. And get back to real life. I think we had fun today. It was good being here. It was good seeing everyone. I really like how this is going. Why are you beating me up? I'm like, I'm your teammate. I know you're probably frustrated as shit with me though. I mean, who could blame you? He's smashing me. I'm just trying to get back. He's annoyed, probably. Yeah, what sucks after this is I think you have like 5 more cars you gotta go get quickly. I think. Maybe not. Oh my God, that took forever. Alright, y'all. Oh, green eyes. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you again very, very soon.